The Joe Rogan Experience.
My whole theory is this was a pocket. It's called the Norte Chico culture. It's a little pocket of these 4 valleys, and I went all over them documenting these pyramids. They don't look like pyramids anymore. They look like mounds. They're so old. But there's another place 200 kilometers north in the Chasma Valley, and what they have found is underneath the structures that are currently exposed, they found deeper layers of temples with that sunken plaza in this whole other location. And those are dating to the same time. So I firmly believe that what archaeologists currently say is the oldest culture, I believe it went the whole coast of Peru.
Wow.
I mean, like, this was a cradle of civilization. I mean, hands down.
Cradle of civilization 6,000 years ago.
6,000 years ago.
So, which is right around the time we think the cradle of civilization happened in Sumer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the hard thing about it is, like, you'll have some carvings in adobe that's been preserved in some of these places. So there's some sort of iconography, but there's no writing like the Sumerian. The whole thing about Peru is, like, there was no writing system that we know of. There is a theory, and I believe this. I believe the quipus, the rope strings with knots.
Yeah.
I believe that was a language, but the Spanish burnt as soon as the Spanish came over, they burned as many of those things as they could find, and they killed the people who could read them. So we won't ever know.
Oh God, Spaniards! How dare you?
But there's evidence that they took some of the Incas to the Spanish court, and so there's an Inca in the Spanish court in front of the queen or king reading off of these quipus, reading stories, telling the court, and
from knots on strings.
From knots on strings. Yeah.
And that understanding of that stuff is lost.
It's lost. Currently, I think for the last few years, there's been some studies being done in Harvard trying to use AI to figure out what these mean. I mean, and
how
it's
many
not
of these
just,
are left over? Can we see some images of them?
I think 500 to 1,000. I mean, that's it. I mean, the Spanish went on a mission to burn all these things.
Because they were trying to convert them to Spanish and get them to speak the language and become Catholic.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so much history is lost because of it.
Yeah.
So it's but what's interesting is at that oldest place at Corral, they found a quipu. They found one of these knotted strings. And it wasn't a fishing net, it was what looked to be a quipu. And so if you have that tradition going back 6,000 years, I mean, that's there's a lot of...
This picture's from 1994. This is what it looked like then. It just doesn't look like anything.
See that on the right? Those pits?
Yeah.
That's looting pits.
And wow.
That's what it looks like from above here. And I was looking at a map.
Oh, so they had to dig it up.
This is the map from above.
Wow.
It's a pretty big area.
Why is ancient history so damn fascinating?
If you go on my spreadsheet, there's a place called Era de... What is it? I'm looking at my notes here. Sunken Plaza Era de Pando. It's a link to my YouTube. So this, what we're about to see is right across the valley from Corral. So all throughout that valley are these sites from that Norte Chico culture. And I'm like right there on top of this pyramid, and just the drone footage is epic, man.
Wow.
So I went on a mission looking for these places. That's it.
The thing about this that is so compelling but also so unsatisfying is that a lot of these stories, you're never going to get the full answer.
No.
You're never going to get the full history. It's just the mystery will never be satisfied. You're always going to be hungry, you know? Which is that for a person like yourself that studies these places and has dedicated so much time to it, is that in any way frustrating, or does it add to the appeal?
Both.
Well, look at that 6,000-year-old
Quick
site.
question. There's no one there with you at all, it looks like?
No.
So no one can stop you from
taking
no,
a skull.
digging or...
Whoa. look at that.
No,
So
I
this
mean,
is
if you got
with
caught,
a drone?
yeah, this is just me. I actually spoke to there was an archaeologist who told me to go to that place, and so I went, and I was the only one there.
Wow.
So this is my whole thing was I identified most of these places through Google Earth first. Like they're not labeled. These places aren't labeled at all.
That's crazy. So these aren't documented places?
No, this is. So
this one place right here is?
It's not on Google Earth, though. It's not on Google Maps. You won't see any marker of it. But I was able to do some digging because of the guy who took me through the site. I meet this random guy, Luis. Luis is amazing. He's a farmer right here. I freaked him out. He thought I was coming to rob him because he gets robbed often, apparently.
Oh, boy.
But he
Poor
walked me
Luis.
through the site, and this one, okay, if you pause it, that right there on the bottom right is another one of those temples with the sunken plaza, except that one has monoliths.
Oh, it looks like Stonehenge.
Exactly. And nobody's done a study on astro. I don't know that
Alignment,
stuff.
right.
But I can almost guarantee that there is some sort of astronomical alignment. So what happened was archaeologists did come here in the 90s, I think, and it didn't look like Corral. They weren't going to be able to restore it, so they just kept it as a, to find dating on these things. And it's from the same culture. It's just a couple valleys over.
Do you have any footage of the monoliths?
Yeah. It'll come up if you fast forward through it. It's going to be back closer to where, yeah. We walk up to it. There you go.
Oh. Interesting. So some sort of a stone circle of monoliths.
I put it through AI.
They're fairly small monoliths, though, right?
I mean, some of them have been buried and removed. But
Oh. So someone's got them in their fucking house somewhere.
some of them, yeah.
Ugh. How much of that is a problem with archaeology? I know that was a giant issue with Egyptian artifacts. That a lot of like wealthy people in other countries would just get it imported to their den and have a big fancy party.
It still happens. I will have to say that and I mean I've seen it with my own eyes. Looting is. I've never come across like somebody in the field doing that.
That would be
though.
fucking terrifying, right?
Would be freaky. Yeah,
Because they'll kill you.
dude, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
And if they get caught, they're in deep shit, so they would want to get rid of you. What's the most compelling site in Peru for you?
I wanted to show you this. If you look in my video footage, Purulen Pyramids, Purulen. This site, I think it is much more deserving of future study. It's a site that has 16 platform pyramids.
Wow. And what does this site date to?
So when I did this, half my role here is like I'll go out and find these places, and then on the back end when I make these videos, I go hard on the research. Like I spend too much.
Which video was that?
Pyramids Purulen.
Oh, I got it.
That's just so you can have a sense of scale.
Thank God for drones, huh?
100%.
Okay, so that's a platform. So that is the remains.
That's dude, and so right back. If you look back on the horizon, that's the coast. So this is right on the ocean, which means this has been inundated for millennia by tsunamis, and
It looks like it.
It really does, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's completely washed over. Look at how the sand
Yep.
is formed.
And it's so I kept that in there. That's the wind. The wind is so I messed up my first drone flying it here. But check this out. I keep this in so you could just. There's another one. Whoa. Oh, it gets better, man.
That seems like a riverbed. That water
Another.
used to-
That's the.
It completely seems like water's washed right over this whole area. I bet if you look at it from far above, it's even more
Oh,
evident,
yeah, I already
right?
was.
Yeah. Look at that. Wow.
And they're all the same. They all have the same shape.
And what's the conventional explanation for
There
this
was
place?
one study done on this, and it was a brief survey in 1970. And this
That's
guy,
it?
yeah, that's it. However, the archaeologist who did that survey, there's another one there. The archaeologist who did this survey has been quoted in the past 30 years saying he always wanted to come back here and do more research. He just never did. It's not an easy place to get to. But what they dated it at is, even in that report, that 1970s survey, he's saying 1800 BCE, but likely, look at that.
Wow.
It's even bigger than
Wow.
Here's something unique. If you pause it real quick. All right. So I looked on Google Earth, and those toward the top center, you see those two block-looking things? All right. So I was like, I thought they were megalithic. They're not. All of these pyramids are carved out of the bedrock.
Wow.
Are carved out of the bedrock. And the only place that there were looting pits are behind those two stones at the top. In that little alcove of the mountains, that was the only place. So I went there, and there's bones there. So that's where people were buried. And I'm like, why are they burying people here? And I stand right in the middle, and it's facing 89 degree, almost perfect east-west, that little gap. So like that's where they were burying their elite people.
So where the sun would rise in the summer solstice.
Yeah.
Now, how old is this site supposed to be?
So they said in that report, he says 1800. They found one piece of pottery that's documented. They found one, and so
This is from the 1970 study.
Yeah, and so they're saying 1800 BCE. 'Cause that's right around when pottery started, but in that report he says it's likely older as well. He thinks it's older. It needs more study. But that was it. That was the only thing that was put out there. I mean, there's 16 pyramids here, and if you look in my drone footage, you'll see it looks like there's another thing here, another thing there.
So it's in the neighborhood of 4,000 years old, but possibly older.
Correct. And I think it is. I would stake everything on it being found to be much older. Pre-ceramic, pre-pottery.
The pre-ceramic thing is nuts. All right. So, like, here's the thing. What are they using for utensils? What are they using for plates? Like, what are they using to put their food on? And then, if it is pre-ceramic, what kind of tools do they have? And how are they carving?
How are they building these
this out of the
pyramids?
bedrock? I mean, imagine the amount of effort it would take for a human being banging a rock against another rock to try to do that, and then to make it flat. Are these things level? Have they?
I mean, this is the only modern. Most of my footage is the only modern media
What?
in existence of some of these sites.
That's crazy.
Of
It's
that,
just you?
of that site.
Imagine if you didn't exist. Imagine if you weren't exposed to that as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, that's
This is just going to sit there for like another 1,000 years before somebody else figures it out?
yep.
And that's-
Or it gets paved over.
God.
That's why I'm doing it, man.
God, it's so weird. But how weird is that? How weird is it? It's just you. I mean, Raul, what kind of weight on your shoulders is there that this one fascinating site, you're the only guy that's got video of this? Modern video? That's crazy.
Thanks for having me on.
You're getting kind of choked up about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of work, you know, and it's something in me that I've.
Well, it's obviously very compelling to everyone that really pays attention to it. Is this the...
That's when you look on the satellite.
And again, this is the thing. This is not like they put some rocks in place. They carved these things out of the bedrock, and they're fucking huge. That's what's so crazy about it.
I mean, getting there was...
Like, what are we looking at, man? Like, that's the thing. Like, what are we looking at? And why in Peru? And what happened to this area where they had so much sophisticated, complex construction that was